Alright, so junior year and career ed memories. The business project, the big one. My partners were Jackie, Heidi, and Faith. Our business was called Dulce Pastries, and we were a gluten-free bakery based out in San Francisco. I remember Faith surprising us all the day of our presentation with these amazing gluten-free pastries. No one actually believed her that they were gluten-free. And her and Woods would even argue about whether they were gluten-free or not, to the point to where he wanted video proof of her making the pastries and showing him. Another thing I remember was Jackie and Heidi and their constant bickering. They are the most intelligent and headstrong young women that I know. They would argue over really minute details, and it wasn't anything bad, but it was just really funny for me and Faith to watch because we couldn't laugh. We would try so hard not to laugh, or else because they would turn it around on us. So yeah, it was interesting to put together our own little business, and it was definitely fun. One guest speaker that really left an impression on me was Jill Denton from GCU. She was a counselor for the school, and she came to do a presentation in our career ed class. After her presentation, I realized I just kind of fell in love with the school, even just seeing just a small summary of it. So I went home and did my own research and fell even more in love with it. So yeah, now she's my counselor, and she's helped me sign up for my classes, and she's getting me ready to go to that school, and I'm very excited to go there next year and start that new chapter in my life. So I had a good class. It was very informative, and I'm glad I got to experience it. But I remember having a hard time being proper or practicing certain drills with my group because I had Joseph, Sai, and Mila in it. It was just really hard to stay serious because they were just so funny. But I did take away a lot from that class, and I'm glad that I got to experience it. So the mock interview was definitely an important experience for me. Some advice I would give to somebody that was about to do it would be to fake it till you make it in case you don't have the confidence that you need. Personally, I don't have that confidence, but that day I went in with that mentality of, hey, I got this, you can do it, you're awesome, you're gonna crush it, and I ended up doing really well on it. Another thing I would advise is to practice the sample questions that we get. It definitely helped me out a lot because without them, I don't think I would have thought them through enough to where they didn't sound like they had enough meaning in them. And I ended up doing really well in that section too. Making eye contact is very important because you want them to feel that their time is valued, and you want them to feel like you appreciate what they're doing and that you're actually listening to them. And the handshake is definitely a big thing. We practice it a lot throughout our junior year, and they do tell a lot by it, so the experience that we received did help me a lot with that part too. And another thing is to be polite. I mean, they're out here giving their time for us to do a mock interview, so you want them to feel respected in that sense. And another given would be to look professional. It really isn't that hard to find some interview clothes. It was weird seeing some kids not dressing up as professionally that they should, but I feel like anyone could do it as long as they try a little. Some don'ts I would say for the mock interview would be to not talk, or to talk while waiting. Don't talk while we're waiting. They have these chairs lined up in front of all the tables where each interviewer is at, and you wait there until another table opens up. And while you're there, it's kind of like a test to see if you're talking, if you're kind of goofing off with whoever's next to you, and they mark you down for that. So definitely do not talk while sitting in those waiting chairs. Another thing is don't be too relaxed. It is good to seem confident, but being too relaxed makes it seem like you don't care. So, I mean, just kind of find a good in-between of being confident and relaxed, because obviously you don't want to look too nervous. And then along with that would be trying not to fidget as much. One thing I did have to practice was not fidgeting with my hands or shaking my legs, so it is tough because sometimes you do it without thinking about it, but with a little practice, I think anyone can do it. Oh boy, time management. Okay, so my junior year was really an eye-opener in that sense because in the beginning I would like to cram everything last minute, which wasn't really good because a lot of those projects, the big projects, were due in the beginning of the year. So after a few weeks of struggling with that, I decided, hey, I need to really plan out my time. So I would calculate how long we would have until the due date, and I would try to I would do maybe an hour or two of work a day up until the time it was due. I like to plan it out to where I didn't have to do so much in one day. So it would just be easier for me to handle. Because, I mean, focusing on one big thing for that long would be really hard for anybody to do. So some fast track memories I have are with Mr. Shotwell and Mr. Kopis. My first fast track class was with Mr. Shotwell. It was world history, and I believe it was his first fast track class too. It was really funny trying to see him cram a year's worth of work into 1 month. It was definitely interesting for me because it was way more fast-paced than what I was used to. But it was overall a fun experience because he was passionate about what he taught, and that motivated me to stay focused in his class, as well as having a bunch of my friends in that class, which just made it fun. And then for Mr. Kopis' class it was forensic science, and we took that class at the new campus. So it was a weird environment for us because we'd never been there before. My class was relatively small, which made it that much more better. It was easier for me to pay attention in class because there wasn't a lot of commotion going on. But I did have a few charismatic people in that class that did make it better. They made it more fun, especially when we got to some boring parts. But I overall enjoyed that class as well because my interest in it took me by surprise because I didn't expect to be interested in it at all. And by the end of it, I ended up loving it. So those were my fast track experiences.